Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 17 of the Lost One podcast. My name is Shenzo the Lost. I'm your host as always, and joining me today, I have a very special guest. I've got one of my closest streaming friends, one of my longest supporters, KittyAeryn. Hey, Kitty, how you doing?
Longest supporter?
Yeah,
I don't know. I haven't been around that long, have I?
yeah. I mean, you pretty much came in, I think, right around the time as like Vin and Puma, right?
Oh, yeah, probably. I
And
mean, as soon as I saw you streaming, I was like, "Oh, this seems like a nice guy." And I was, at the time, you had no camera, right?
yeah, no, I didn't
And
have a camera.
you were straight just playing Apex, and it was one of my first fascinations with first-person shooters. I finally just said, "Hey, why don't I play with you, just as a fun test?" And that's what we ended up doing, like every so often, was just a fun time, and
Yeah,
I had a great time with that. That was just so cool.
yeah.
However, I now know I really don't like BRs, and I'm just like, okay, I've learned. I know what I like now. So,
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with giving it a try. Like, I just
yeah,
literally tried to play Resident Evil 2, the
yeah,
remake, not that long
mm-hmm.
ago, and yeah, that didn't go well for me. That didn't go well for me at all. Anxiety through the roof. I was sweating through my clothes to the chair, and I only got to the police station. So, for you RE fans, yes, I am a total wuss, and yes, you are all way braver than me.
Would
So,
I wouldn't call you a wuss.
yeah.
I would never call you a wuss, but I would say yes. If you're not, if it's very gory, it's very heavy on the zombie aspect, and it's just like very in your face. And I
Yeah,
can tell because I have played these types of games. I played 7 and I've played 1. I've seen playthroughs of all of the Resident Evil games, and I'll tell you this much: it's a lot just to take in right off the bat. Like I don't, I don't know how people do it. That's all I can say.
Yeah, so in my case, it's not even like the gore. It's the anticipation.
Hmm.
It's the waiting for the zombie to suddenly show up. It's the limited ammo. It's the high stress environment, which
Yeah.
makes it such a good horror game. I'm not built
Yeah.
for. And I appreciate that you won't call me that, but I happily will because I am absolutely a coward. Always have been. I hate confrontation. Uh,
Oh, Shenzo.
and it's just something that it's a reality, but it's not
Hmm.
something I enjoy at all. And I always try to take the high ground if I can, but
Right.
I'm human. I make mistakes and things happen. So what are you gonna do there?
Right. For
But
me, horror games don't really. I mean, yeah, they get my adrenaline going. I have played all the Dead Space games, okay? I know.
oh god,
It is so fucking creepy. Scoopy. I can't word right, can I?
spooky,
Spooky. I
spooky,
said like
scary.
it was like a mixture between spoopy and kooky, and it just went opposite directions. Of course, this happens on stream too. I'm
Yeah.
always like, I blah 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 blah. I can't talk
Oh, don't,
ever.
don't 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 worry. I'll just edit that part out. I can't
No.
actually edit that out.
Oh, that's
But
fine. No, I fully understand that words are hard, and I just move on.
yeah. No, it's just it happens sometimes. I mean, we both know
Yeah,
Grayson. We both know and love Grayson, and
yeah,
love him to death. But pronunciation not necessarily his strong suit, and I can say that because it's not mine either. So you know, but yeah, it's great to have you on though, Kitty. This has been in the works for a long time.
I know.
Obviously
Yeah,
we've had a lot go on, and actually that's a lot about what I think we're going to talk about today is kind of like what's
right.
been going on with like Twitch and like what our
Hmm.
futures are, because for those that don't know, Kitty and I are roughly the same size streamers. I think Kitty has more followers than I do, but like as far as like
That many.
our communities are very
Hmm.
much intertwined.
Hmm.
Usually, like if you're looking at our analytics, it's like what percentage of like your viewers have in common with other channels, and I think like with Kitty and I, it's like at least on my end, it's like 50 to 70%. It's really high. So we have a
Understand.
lot in common, and we also I think share a lot of opinions on what's been going on. Um, and for those that don't know, we're recording this on Wednesday the 19th. So
Right.
this is literally the weekend after the entire internet went on fire with like
Hmm.
Twitch ads, Rooster Teeth, and G4 getting canceled. So
And then
there's
before
been
that
a
was TwitchCon. Before that
yeah.
was.
Before that was TwitchCon. Before that was the subsplit announcement where they're actually
Yep.
taking subsplit money away from partners.
Yep.
Um, so there's been a lot. obviously that's gone on. And I
Yeah.
think, Kitty, let's just kind of dive into it. Full disclosure, we're not going to be like, at least, I don't want to speak for Kitty, but I'm not going to be like anti Twitch, right? Like, from my perspective, it's all coming from a place where I want Twitch to do better and how I think they can do better. So there might be a lot of complaining for sure. But at least from my perspective, I do want Twitch to succeed and I want them to do well. I just very strongly disagree with the direction they're going in because it tells me that they don't understand their own platform.
Yeah.
So, Kitty, kind of where if you could kind of like summarize how you feel about it, like what would your summary be?
Oh, man, betrayal.
Betrayal?
The betrayal, pretty much. Like, I think when I first became affiliate, it was kind of like a whirlwind of emotions because I didn't think anybody in the right mind would have the time to watch my small bean channel, but they do. And I I loved Wurtson, I loved Lexi, I loved all those people who came in who were like
Mm-hmm.
devoted to watching my channel and actually giving some time to me, and it was great. And I did what I was supposed to do, which was, well, supposed to do, and quote unquote,
Yeah,
which was sub goals, bit donations, the Twitch algorithm
yeah,
supports that.
rating out all that sort of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah,
So I was doing everything that basically was a part of that Twitch algorithm. And the more I did it, the more I felt like I was personally feeling like they were spending their hard earned money on 50%. And
yeah,
50% would only go to me, and 50% would go into the wallets of Twitch.
yeah,
And, when Tuba explained all that to me, which was a long time ago, it was a while ago, like almost a year ago, when I found all of that out, and Tuba explained everything from like what affiliates get versus what partners get, I started to really start to have it sink in that my friends, the people that I have been dedicating time to, the people who have been dedicating their time to me,
mm-hmm.
have only been able to give me 50% when they want to give me their time, their energy, their everything,
Yeah.
right? Because they actually enjoy my stream, they like my content. So why would I guess in my head, I'm like, why the hell would Twitch just take away whatever I make? And now I understand. It's a big
It's a
corporation.
business. Yeah,
It's you have to make money somehow in some sort of way, right?
yeah,
But to me, I felt like that was unfair to the people who watch me, the people who, actually give me their time. And it just kind of went downhill from there because
yeah,
the more Twitch changed, the more it just started to become like, this isn't a platform I really agree with ever.
yeah.
And I just feel like, no. I
It
mean, do you remember when the Streamlabs thing happened a while ago for like copying all that stuff?
yeah,
That was also on my mind, like, Twitch is supporting that brand when they have copied over other people's that are free to use content,
yeah,
and some of it has to be paid for, some of it
yeah.
actually
And
takes
then
up.
they're monetizing someone else's work. Yeah,
Right. And I
yeah.
just am sitting here like, okay, yeah.
You know
So
it.
Twitch is basically has portrayed me and made me feel like they don't really care. All they care about is money,
Yeah,
and they can claim all they want that their creators mean something to them on their socials and whatever. I don't believe that for a second. And I'm not like completely anti Twitch because it does bring creators and communities together, and those communities, regardless of what happens on Twitch, the communities that build on Twitch are beautiful and wonderful. At
yeah,
least from my perspective, I can see that the communities overall have always been loving, caring, and wanting the person that is on the screen to succeed or follow their hearts and dreams. And that is the only thing good I can say Twitch has right now.
yeah. And
So,
a lot of that doesn't have to do with what they do, right? Which is, I
yeah.
think, part of the problem. And
Hmm.
it's. I want to play a little bit of devil's advocate here because I don't just want this to be a podcast of like burying Twitch, right?
Yeah,
Twitch
no.
offered both of us a platform. That's how we met. So there's
Yeah.
always going to be a part of me that is grateful to Twitch, but again, I think both of us are coming from a place where we want Twitch to be better. We want them to improve. And
Yeah.
there are certain realities of that. Like we said, they are a business, but I definitely feel they're going about it the wrong way. And
Mhm.
we'll probably go into detail on that a little later. But to play devil's advocate, like I do understand that, about like Twitch taking 50% cut. Like I'm not happy about that either.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say that at least was fair is at least with the 50% cut for affiliates, it was for all affiliates. And
Mhm.
then with the 70-30 split, um, that was something you could work toward as a partner, right?
Yeah.
So that was, I was actually okay with that. And what I would have been probably more okay with than what they ended up doing was even if they hadn't given affiliates a 70-30 split, and
Mhm.
the reason why is because hosting affiliates is expensive. Like, I'm going to be
Yeah.
honest, the numbers that they sent out in that blog post, and if you don't know what blog post I'm talking about, the CEO of Twitch basically posted it was like a super late night blog post. I think it was like 3 in the morning, local time, and it was just no accountability, lots of excuses, and it was the announcement, of course, that they were going to cut partners' share 70-30. And the
Yep.
justification was, oh, it's expensive to run this platform. To which I think everybody went like, well, no shit. But, so it was like, but at least, before this, it was like, okay, you had obviously non affiliates don't earn any money through Twitch directly, right?
Yep.
They didn't have access to bits or subs. So you
Yep.
can't earn money through the Twitch platform, but you could earn money elsewhere, like through third
Yeah.
parties like PayPal, Streamlabs, Stream Elements. They all offered services that allowed you to do that.
Right.
But then with Twitch, it's like, okay, at this point, yeah, you have to get like a certain cut, and I get that. That's how business runs. Most people would argue for 70-30, but let's just give Twitch the benefit of the doubt here, and like it's really expensive to offer like nonstop services, and affiliates don't make a lot of money. They don't.
Nope.
There's a huge gap between affiliate and partner. It's
Mhm.
a chasm, and that's saying something because even the gap for affiliate and non-affiliate is also huge. That 3 viewer average requirement is really really hard.
Mhm.
Um,
No, it is.
So it's like, okay, then you have the 70-30 for partners. But the problem was that not every partner had the 70-30 split.
Nope.
And they did address this in the blog post that there really wasn't a methodology for it. The most common that everyone can point to is you had to be one of the most successful streamers on Twitch. Therefore, as a creator, you had to have leverage with this giant company in order to get that split. So what I would have been, not happy about, but at least would have accepted as a compromise, is if they had given all partners, regardless of status, if they earn that partner slot, you get the
Right.
70-30. Keep the 50-50 at affiliate and, what it is, and bada bing, bada boom, you're good. Because your partners are the one that are bringing in the most money from Twitch, right?
Right.
But instead, they were like, no, we're actually going to punish our partners by taking away a bigger cut of their hard work
Yeah.
with because we don't know how to run our business in a way that is profitable.
Right.
And that's how I interpreted it. So, again, I want to give like the benefit of the doubt here that like I understand Twitch is a business and I understand that no business wants to be in the red. But
Right.
you also have to throw in the fact that you're run by Amazon. Amazon is
Mhm.
one of them, if not the most, one of the most successful companies in the world. They
Yep.
can absolutely afford to take that loss if they wanted to, but
Exactly.
they don't, and because they're
Yep.
super money obsessed and greedy. But so what it comes down to at the end of the day is that you know Twitch decided to put profits over their community. And
Yep.
where I think both of us are in agreement here is that we believe that's a mistake because at the end of the day, without the community and without the creators, Twitch doesn't make any money at all.
Right.
Their entire monetary system is set up around their creators.
Mhm.
And and even more questionable is it's like, Twitch, they have limited time on their VODs, right?
Yep.
So I think it's like what for affiliates it's 30 days, for partners it's 90.
Yep.
So if you're an affiliate, you're already in, let's say conservatively, like the top 10%. Okay, it's probably
Right.
lower than that, but we're going to be generous. So
Right.
10% of your video content isn't even being stored longer than 30 days on a server.
Yep.
If you're a partner, more than likely you're already bringing in Twitch money. And, in this blog post, they said it was like for every 250 hours of content, it cost them like $1,000, right? For every 250 hours of streaming, it cost them like $1,000. That number's probably not accurate, and I'm not going to get into why, but let's just, for a moment, assume that it is. Most partners are probably bringing Twitch in more than $1,000 per month.
Yep.
Like that's just a fact. I don't know for
Yep.
sure, but like if your average partnership is that high, you're probably getting more than $1,000 per month on most between bits and subs for most
Yep.
partners. So your cost is actually in your affiliates. Because I'll just say full transparency, I don't make $1,000 per month. I don't even make close to that. I make like $100 maybe every like 4 or 5 months if I'm lucky.
Yep. I
So
got like $200 maybe once, and that was maybe during an as long as you want it that I tried to do by
yeah,
myself. Now, never do that.
yeah, right.
Never try to do it by yourself. Have somebody with you, please. Just, if you're gonna go crazy and try to do something like that. But then it also being like maybe only 3 days versus like a week or so, and you only get like certain amount, and that's all you get for the month, right?
Yeah,
You don't get like bi-weekly payments or anything. It's all just per month,
yeah.
and you're kind of sitting on that wait time also with the fact that you have a threshold you have to meet, and then you have to wait for that money to show up.
Yeah,
So,
and they did, like, just for transparency, they did just lower the threshold to $50, which has been in the works
yeah,
for a while. But still, point being the same. It's like, yeah, you had to hit like $100 to even get a payout. So,
yeah,
and now it's 50, and that's, I think, more reasonable. But
yeah,
that's a welcome change, right? Again, this is not going to be like let's just dunk on Twitch. Like the lower payment threshold is a very welcome change, in my opinion.
yeah,
But the problem is that again, is it's like, okay, so we know Twitch isn't profitable. We know the current CEO, that's their main focus. Okay, cool. So you're instead going to punish your creators, but the reality is that when your creators aren't creating, Twitch doesn't make money. They
yep,
get money from subs and they get money from bits. They
yep,
probably get, like ad revenue in there too, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but at the end of the day, they're only going to make as much money as their creators are putting out content.
yeah.
So you might be wondering, hypothetical viewer, what is my proposal then if I'm so opposed to the 70-30, them not going with the 70-30 split, if that's one of my issues with them? Well, my thing is pretty simple. You can either lower the amount of bandwidth you're spending per user you're making
Hmm.
available, which would cut a ton of your server costs.
Hmm.
Um, so for example, I think everybody gets 1080p, right? To the ability to stream in 1080,
Mm, yeah. For
regardless.
not non-affiliates though, I feel like they're only set to a certain
720,
amount. Yeah, I don't
yeah,
remember,
maybe,
but I I think that depending on how you do your stream on OBS, what you stream at is what you stream at.
yeah,
You can't change it or anything. You can't, you know. That's for like non-affiliates. Affiliates probably have it where you can like set it to lower key if you have to, if you have your internet problems or
yeah.
whatever.
And
But
I can tell you that you did because I used to stream in 1080. Now I stream in 720 because my PC can't handle streaming in 1080. So,
yeah.
but it's available. So my point is that okay, if you're worried about costs, well, a lot of your costs are going to be in your resolution. So why don't you
Hmm.
just offer lower resolution to non-affiliates? And not saying like it has to be like criminally bad, but like cap it
Right.
at like 720 for everybody who's not a partner, and then for 1080, cool. That's awesome. But 720 is usually passable. But that's just one example. And again, I know that's probably not going to be a super popular proposal, but it's better than messing with your creator's money. Like,
Yeah.
because
No, you're totally right.
that's something that they can control on their end.
Hmm.
The other thing too is that the second thing is invest in your creators. Twitch's biggest problem as a platform is that when you ask how do you grow on Twitch, the answer is use another platform.
Mm.
So
You
it's
know, you know.
and
Oh my god.
and
Okay.
we'll talk about this a little later, but like on in the Twitch CEO's Q&A they did at TwitchCon on that
Mhm.
Sunday night. They talked about how you want to get out raids because that's like the number one like factor in the algorithm for like streamers you may like is if
Yep.
you're constantly raiding like different channels. But the way they explained it is like awful because they essentially were like raid the biggest streamers. And it's like that doesn't make any sense because you literally just added a feature where streamers can now limit raids by size. So
Yeah.
you're basically saying you want to raid people who have more viewers than you to increase that algorithm for discoverability, which again is putting
Yeah.
it on the creator, right?
Yep.
And but then you put a limit that allows people to, you know, limit that. And I want to be clear, that alone is not bad, but it's just when you put it in that context, it becomes a
Yeah.
bad thing. And it's something like, okay, how are you supposed to grow on Twitch? Well, you go on to TikTok or you go on to YouTube or Twitter or Reddit and you have to spread the word there, like through networking and stuff, and you can't grow on the platform. Well, it's like, okay, so you acknowledge that all these users are costing you money, but you're not willing to invest in them to help them make more money and put them into the green.
Right.
So I don't know. Like I said, like that's just two things I can think of off the top of my head. It's like increased discoverability
Yep.
and maybe limit your resolution and one of them will save you money from a technology standpoint, and number two will increase your investment. It's an investment. You're investing in your own community. And I'm not guaranteeing that anything will be work, but like if your concern is we have X number of users who are streaming X number of hours, but they're not making us enough money to be profitable, then you have to do one of two things. You either have to limit those streamers to cut your losses, or you need to do something to help them get to that profitability because right now they're on their own.
Yep.
So
We're completely on our own. We have to get those viewers. We have to get the follows. We have to once you sign the affiliate agreement too, it's all up to you at that point to either
mhm,
make money or don't. And if
yeah.
you don't make money, you're just kind of stuck with that, well, $50 threshold now,
Yeah,
right?
it's a
You said?
$50 threshold now, yeah.
But you're still waiting an entire month to even see that money, and then
Mhm.
Twitch has to kind of divvy up the funds and see what they get versus what you get. And then you're just kind of you see, for me, I'm just sitting here like that's just so much uh, I would say work on their end, and also from my perspective as somebody who cares about the people watching me, and you're basically saying that the person you're watching, the person you're paying for, gets nothing of what you paid for. Basically gets 50% of it. 50% is not, I mean, compared to what Twitch makes in a year,
Yeah.
like they get way more than they should, I think. And I
Yeah.
think that
Well,
them telling me that it's not profitable, is we're not getting any money and that we're gonna have to cut things, and I'm just like, it doesn't make any sense.
yeah.
But,
Well,
you
I mean,
know, that's just me.
I can understand where they're coming from in that because the fact is, and this is a fact, that Twitch is not
Yeah.
profitable. They don't make money by themselves. They don't.
Yeah.
And it's there's a lot of reasons for that, and I don't pretend to have inside knowledge, but there's just a lot of reasons that I can see as an outside observer and as someone who works like in the financial industry, for example, like.
Yeah.
So there's a couple things like I can play devil's advocate for. Like I understand why they take so long to process payouts. Um, they have to worry about taxes. They have 50 states in the U.S. with different tax codes. Plus, I don't know how many countries they serve, but I know it's a lot. So
Yikes.
they need to take that time to make sure that they get everything right and line up so they don't get sued by a government for withholding tax money, right?
Okay.
So like
Yeah.
I want to be fair to Twitch on that. Again, if I'm going to criticize them, I want to criticize them fairly.
Yeah.
But
No, I totally get it.
yeah, and like there's a line from Batman the animated series about Joker, and it's like I don't want to mess with the IRS. Like I'm not even crazy enough to mess with the IRS. And that's true. Is it's
Oh, that's
traditionally
funny.
the biggest downfall historically, at least here in the US, to companies and individuals is that they mess up on their taxes.
Yeah,
Al Capone is a great example of that, where they nailed him for tax evasion, not like any of the other crimes he allegedly committed.
right.
But so with that case, like I understand the long processing time because they do have they are a global servicing company, and there's
Yeah.
just so much they have to keep track of and make sure it's okay. I know a lot of that's probably automated, like in their calculations you were talking about, that's all probably automated, but
Yep.
processing the actual payouts, they got to make sure that like, okay, is this taxable? How much of it is? Where's their state? There's a whole lot of things they got to take care of, and as I'm sure tax codes are constantly changing.
Yep.
Um, so it's just in that case, I defend the long payout time. That's why I'm happy they lowered the threshold to $50 because I know that's probably a lot more work on their end, but
Yeah.
they wouldn't have done it if they didn't feel they could handle it. So
Yeah, of
I'll
course.
let them slide on that. But as far as like as far as like what else you were saying about like the reality is that a lot of the work is done on the content creator side in order to make successful. There's a reason why we have a lot of content creators that aren't successful. Like, this is going to come across as a bit of a humble brag, but like, for a channel my size, like, I regularly rank in the top 5% of all Twitch. And I'm a very small channel. I have under 200 followers. And my average viewer is ship is probably disproportionate, but it's 7. So that's pretty
Yeah.
high. And I'm already like in the top 5% of Twitch. But like I said, I'm not making any money. So for
Yeah.
all of their streamers, right, their Twitch is probably realistically only making money off of like maybe their top like 1 or 2%, if that.
If that.
So that explains why they're not making money. But also, you got to understand that it's not on your creators to bail you out of bad business decision. If you're running in the red as the owner and the CEO, it's your job to fix that.
Yeah.
And my problem is that you're taking it out on your actual money source rather than dealing with any other problems. And again, this is from the outside looking in. I want to be very clear about that. But
Yeah.
it's like I said, that's the part that frustrates me. And then making matters worse is when you compare it to like YouTube, which is their closest thing to direct competition.
Yep.
YouTube is offering that 70-30 split. They offer a lot of the same features, and granted, a lot of them are being built out now, but like they've already implemented like super chats now. The emotes are getting up and running. So a lot of the same things that like Twitch had before that were exclusive are no longer being exclusive. And I don't
Yep.
know if you heard about this, Kitty, but TikTok just released their own OBS version, open
Yes, they
broadcasting
did.
software.
Yeah, I saw that. BB Jess has been talking about it,
Uh huh.
and I've been actually kind of closely monitoring BB Jess, Zach Busey,
Yeah.
still like Tuba if he has an update every so often, of course.
Yeah.
And like I look at those things, right? And I try to I mean, I may not go in depth as to what happened at TwitchCon because I didn't watch any of the events that were streamed. I
Oh
didn't watch
God.
any of that. I know, and for good reason, because I feel like I would just start screaming like
Yeah.
some people did. And uh, my mental health can't take that.
Yeah, and that's understandable. Like you got to protect your mentals, but again,
Yeah.
like the thing is that YouTube is also offering a 70-30 split to I think pretty much everybody. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I know it's like the vast majority of people who stream with them, they're getting a 70-30 on like everything.
Is that
And
including partnership or is that just like if they're just streaming?
I think
That's what I need to know
yeah,
because
I think if it's they're just streaming, but I don't know for a fact. So I'll have
okay.
to,
All right.
take that with a grain of salt, but
Of
they
course.
are offering it. I think once you get to like their affiliate equivalent, they're
Mhm.
offering I think a 70-30 split across the board, and on
Yeah.
their version of subs, on their version of super chats, everything.
But that's the thing with YouTube. You can keep your VODs for as long as you
Well,
want. They have servers for that. They
th-
have the thing to
that
be able to just keep them.
that was actually the point I just was about to make, Kitty. So I'm really glad you said that. Is that that's another part that just baffles me about like Twitch not being profitable and them focusing on it is like they're not even offering like permanent or near permanent like hosting of their VODs for anybody.
Yeah, they should.
And so YouTube, I imagine, has a way higher cost on on their server costs for hosting and all that other fun stuff than Twitch does.
Hmm.
So, and again, I don't know for sure, but like the other flip is that YouTube is also owned by one of the most successful companies on the planet, and that's Google or Alphabet.
Google. Yep,
Yeah.
Google.
So it's like for me, I'm like I don't understand why Twitch is doing this because I almost think it's like an ego thing or just an ignorance thing, like to be as polite as possible about it because it's like TikTok is on the rise,
Yeah.
and with them introducing their own OBS software, they're gonna peel people off from Twitch. YouTube
Yeah.
has really cleaned up its streaming act. I know YouTube gaming was like the biggest joke on the planet, but
At one point. At one point.
yeah,
They're
but
doing better
now
now.
they really do seem to be doing better. Like Hang Time just streamed from YouTube and it was amazing.
Yeah.
Being able to sub to their channel was really easy. Their super chat access was also really easy. Very intuitive. And again, they're still trying to catch up a little bit, but like they're getting there. And
Hmm.
it's only a matter of time before we've already seen a lot of like big names leave Twitch to go to YouTube.
Yeah.
But I think that's only going to accelerate, especially with partners making less money when they can make more money in by switching over.
Yeah.
So again, this is I want to reiterate, this is not a like let's knock on Twitch. It's literally I don't understand why they're doing this,
Yeah.
and it just doesn't make sense. Then we're going to go into kind of some of the stuff that happened next, because we talked about the 50-50 subsplit. Let's talk a
Yep.
little bit about what happened on TwitchCon.
Oh man. I'm not ready for this conversation.
So
But I am going to do it because, this is
okay,
important. This is
yeah.
important.
So with TwitchCon, this is something too. Like, I want to be very clear. What I'm about to say is not meant to be insulting to anybody,
Hmm.
but it was such a weird turnaround where everyone was outraged about the 50-50 split. Partners especially were a lot of them didn't say it publicly, but they've made comments like, "Well,
Yeah.
Twitch is taking 20% of our money," and nothing's changed. I still have to do the same amount of work. Twitch just decided you don't deserve as much money anymore.
Right.
And so, a lot of partners were feeling pretty upset by that. Rightfully
Yeah.
so, I think. And all of a sudden, TwitchCon comes around, and like all these same partners who were upset about getting their money taken away are like celebrating TwitchCon and like
Yeah.
hyping it up. And as an outsider looking in, who's not a partner but is an affiliate, who's pretty active in the streaming community, this was absolutely baffling to me.
Yeah.
Like,
I remember. I remember. Oh.
and it was compounded by after Twitch was complaining about how they don't have enough money to give the 70-30 split, they announced that it's a 70, like they announced like Megan Thee Stallion's going to be performing, who's like the number one like most sought after performer right now.
Mhm.
And before anyone says, I understand it's the same budget, but it all's from the same freaking company.
Yeah.
And making matters worse is that Amazon was the one that sponsored it. So the money is still coming out of Amazon. No matter how you
Yes.
spin it, it's like the money's
Yeah.
all going that same direction. But, you know, yes, I understand it was probably budgeted and planned for way in advance. I get that. But the optics on that were just so bad. Because after you
I
tell
mean,
all your creators, we can't afford to pay you what our competitors are paying you,
yeah.
you're going to announce an A-list performer for a one-night concert, which probably cost you millions of dollars.
Yep. Right after you told your entire creators that hey, we're just going to cut your money and then we're just going to bring in this amazing performer
Yeah,
and be like, where the hell did that money go then?
yeah,
Oh, it went to that. It
yeah,
went to that. Of course it did.
yeah.
But obviously it probably wasn't that. It probably was budgeted for. It was done
It,
up way ahead of time.
oh
But
yeah,
at the same time, nobody is gonna bat an eye and say that that was okay or even right.
yeah.
So
I mean, at the very least, okay, and this is, I think, the most generous we can be. The optics on that were really, really terrible,
yes.
and that's, I think, the most generous we can be about it. But
Yeah.
the weird thing for me
Okay.
is that all these partners celebrated it, and
Mm,
the same ones who were literally complaining and like, again, I don't have a partner agreement. I don't
yeah.
know the behind the scenes, and a lot of these partners I really respect and they work really hard. So I'm
Yeah.
wondering if it was like they had a contractual agreement where they had to market TwitchCon a certain amount, send out a certain number of treats, tweets. Um, so you're not the only one who misspeaks.
Yep.
Um, but so I don't know what it was, but it was so jarring to me watching it. And again,
Hmm.
I don't want to pretend, I don't want to bash on anybody, but I know a lot of them did it for the communities. But like my point was, if you're a streamer, why don't you just like instead of going to TwitchCon, why don't you just, I don't know, host a get together at another event? Like you can rent someplace, like you can reserve spots.
Yeah.
Like why do you have to go and support TwitchCon when you know when you just got your money stolen? Like that just tells me that I guess you're either you had some reason that I just can't fathom, which granted
Right.
probably not too far out of the loop. I'm going to be honest. I've never been a partner. I have no idea what they go through, what they do on a daily basis. But
Hmm.
again, really weird optics to go from like, oh, Twitch is stealing our money to, oh,
To
hey, be at TwitchCon, go support the company that's stealing our money. Like, really weird. And I don't want to get into like the stuff that happened with like the ball pit, because I don't know how much like Twitch was liable for that. I don't know how much that was on the what do they call it,
yeah.
the event
Oh
holder.
man.
But there was a lot that happened, obviously, and then there was a lot of
Yeah.
issues with Twitch staff, which again,
Yep.
like, bad look. Can't say I'm surprised, but bad look.
Yeah.
And it was just the fallout from that was just again a string of negative publicity, and to me it crystallized with that Q&A with the executive team.
Yeah.
And I tried to watch it. I went on to Bussy's stream because he was live streaming it and providing
Yep.
commentary. And the way I've summarized it is Zach Bussy, who has way more knowledge about Twitch and streaming than I probably ever will. As the executives were talking, he was like this.
Yeah.
He was just sitting here with his head in his hands, shaking his head, and then they were talking about like discoverability, and it was like literally listening to people who had never worked with a community based platform in their lives.
Seemed
And
like yeah, it seemed like they just were kind of like, we're gonna focus on the numbers. We're
yeah,
gonna focus on what we see on the analytics side. We're not gonna see we don't see the creator side. We don't see all that other stuff. We don't
yep,
know our communities.
yep,
And from that perspective, from just watching everything unfold on Twitter, I was away. I was trying to take care of myself with mental health and all that other stuff. I was very
yeah,
sick. I was trying to figure this stuff out. I come back onto Twitter, it's exploding. There is people are getting injured, people are getting
yeah,
and I'm sorry if this is triggering for anyone. People were sexually harassed at that con. People were hurt. It and your your best way to promote yourselves is to tell you, hey, you should stream on other platforms. We um
the best way to get
we
discoverability is to raid bigger streamers who don't want you there.
it's yeah, exactly. All of these things that it's like you don't know us at all. You
Yeah,
don't know.
it
And yeah, and for me, and on the like, I've talked about this with you before when the partners were going and why they were promoting the crap out of it, and why I saw certain creators actually do like come out to San Diego and actually go there, but not go to TwitchCon.
yeah,
Actually meet up with some of the people that were already there, already had a booked hotel, and they couldn't cancel or whatever the case may
yeah,
be.
whatever
I
the
saw
reason.
two people. Whatever two people I think I saw was her name was Sir Caitlin, and I saw Poop Witch, who I'm a very big fan of,
Uh-huh,
had her own little con at a bar,
yeah,
and she had her whole family there. It was just the cutest thing. Just seeing some of the people that I have hung out with on stream all get together like that,
yeah,
but not at TwitchCon. Away from TwitchCon, away from all of that. And I feel like more people could have done that,
yeah,
and but at the same time I also get it. People couldn't just cancel their hotels after that whole situation
yeah.
happened. Some people couldn't um
Maybe they, like you
leave,
said, maybe they had reservations, maybe they had certain contractual obligations. Like again, I wanted to be very clear that like I'm not ragging on any partner who chose to go. Okay,
Yeah, I'm
the,
not either, but
the,
at the same time, it was just a lot.
yeah.
And it was a lot to take in at once. We're like, wait, what?
Yeah, and it was
Why?
again, it was bad optics, and again,
Hmm.
sometimes bad optics doesn't tell the whole story. But
Yeah.
again, just like we talked about with Megan Thee Stallion, I really do feel we're trying to give Twitch and of course all these partners who make
Yeah.
up what Twitch is the benefit of the doubt. I know a lot of them went because they wanted to hang out with their communities. There's one in particular who I guess I'll name drop, but are you familiar with A Platypus?
Actually, I'm not.
So A Platypus is somebody who is actually he's kind of the unsung hero of my Twitch streaming.
Oh,
Um, I was introduced to him a long time ago by my girlfriend at the time because they were
right.
neighbors, and he was very gracious in encouraging me and in offering to help. I've never reached out to him. I don't feel comfortable doing that because he's in that time he's grown exponentially. But
Yeah.
he is very entertaining, very energetic. He's definitely the polar opposite of me. But he ended up going to TwitchCon, and his reasoning was very simple. A lot of people had already booked their tickets. He had meetups scheduled, and he didn't want to cancel on all of them. And so again, I really want to stress, I totally understand that there are probably reasons we can't think of, but man, the optics of it were super weird. And
Hmm.
I don't want to be critical of those partners, but I do feel that it was a missed opportunity from the community to really show Twitch hey, we're united against this decision, and that's not what happened, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Obviously we can't change the past, but again, like I said, for some streamers like a platypus or Platius, he's nicknamed.
Hmm.
Um, he had a very good reason for going, and I absolutely respect that. And so again,
Yeah.
for the third time, no hate on any partner who went to TwitchCon. Period. End of
Yeah.
story.
Absolutely.
Please, and the comments are everything. Please don't send hate or vitriol their way.
Yeah.
They made the best decision for themselves, and they may be doing it for a reason we don't know about. So just
Yeah.
give them the benefit of the doubt, okay?
Yeah. Of course. I mean, I knew even BB Jess was there. She knew
Oh yeah,
the bad stuff that was happening, and yet she still was there too. But she was there for her community, and I could see
yeah.
it.
And
I
BB
could
and
see it.
BB Jess is one of Twitch's biggest critics,
Yeah.
openly. She really
Openly. Yeah.
is. So again, we don't know, and
Yeah.
that's why we're taking real great pains to say that we feel this was TwitchCon was mishandled. We feel the subs were mishandled. We feel that was an opportunity, but it didn't happen. And
Right.
honestly, being fair, I don't know if we had boycotted TwitchCon that would have changed Twitch's direction. And
Yeah.
I suppose we should jump into the next thing and the last thing we'll probably cover, and that's this push towards ads. Um,
Yep.
and I do get it. I want to start off by saying I understand why Twitch is doing it. I really do. It's a tried and true method in traditional media, television, radio, and Twitch wants to make money. Ad money is worth a lot, but the rollout and the transparency of it, I think, leaves some things to be desired. And I also want to mention something that Kitty, I think you'll want to talk about is it also provides kind of a contradiction for the creators because it puts them in an impossible situation. Now, for those that are not familiar with generally how ad payouts work, an ad is traditionally worth more money if you have more eyes on it, right?
Yes.
So, quid pro quo, you make more money if you have less people sub to your channel.
Yes.
See the contradiction there?
Yeah.
You want people to be sub to your channel, but if you have too many people sub to your channel, you get a really bad ad deal because you have less eyes on those ads.
Yes.
If you get a really good ad deal, you probably are not making as much money as you could through subs. So you have two separate income sources through the same platform that directly contradict each other. And that is probably the simplest, most basic explanation why I think it's a bad idea to push that. I
Um.
understand why they're
Yeah.
doing it, like I said, because Twitch is going to make a lot of money from those ad deals,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not helping your creators, and it's actually, in my opinion, going to actively contribute to making Twitch less sustainable over time.
From my perspective, as somebody who is not affiliate, okay, I have no subs, I have no bits. The reason I took those off was because I didn't like that my people, the people that were watching me, paying 50% over to Twitch. So that's why I took that off in general.
Yeah.
The fact that I have no control over what ads show up on my channel, or even if they show up at all, which they don't now, but they will. I know they will.
Oh yeah, that's coming.
Because
That's coming.
that every
100%.
channel is gonna have ads at some point.
Yeah.
And because of how Twitch runs them, they're long string ads. They're not ads that you could, or to like a click of a button or something that they have, like sometimes YouTube has, but not always. And since they don't have like the VOD structure that YouTube has, where they have a whole bunch of videos from said creator on said channel, and they have it dedicated on a server where they have all those videos, right?
Yeah.
Twitch does not. Having those ads at all during a live stream where they're going to miss something, where they're going to miss some talking point, um, and you expect them to watch that ad and not get like an ad blocker, or even try to just shove to the channel so you don't have to deal with it.
Yeah.
Um, it's not gonna work how Twitch thinks it does. At least not on this platform. It could probably work on YouTube,
Yeah.
probably, because they could probably, put those ads on the VODs, right? And they could, no matter it, and like maybe the VOD is watched a bunch,
Yeah.
and they can still make money from that.
Yeah.
Twitch cannot. You cannot. You don't get any of that at all.
Yeah.
And for somebody who is not affiliate, not even close to that, and is going to get unwanted ads, when I have no control over it, makes me want to wonder, like, why the hell am I staying? I've kind of like talked to you and my other mods of my channel and asked straight up, would it be a crime if I left? And you guys said no.
Yeah. No, not
And
at all. And
yeah,
to just add on to that too, it's like I've seen a lot of arguments about this, right? And
yeah,
there've been some that have been good, some that have been bad, and but I do want to say that there's one argument in particular I just want to kind of dismantle here real quick. And
sure.
part of what make ads work, like targeted ads, right, is having
Yeah.
a lot amount of metadata.
Mhm.
Because Twitch doesn't hold on to their videos or VODs and doesn't really allow, like, they just I think uncap tags. So
Yeah.
that'll help a bit. But like, I'm gonna be honest. We talk a lot about what Twitch does better than their competitors, which up until recently was pretty much everything in regards to live
Yeah.
streaming. The one thing they do worse is metadata. Their metadata
Yeah.
is not really very good. They're very limited in what they can share and what they have compared to like other, like their competitors like TikTok or YouTube, which has like tags in the videos and the like and dislike system, um, along with user information. Twitch
Mhm.
basically has user information and then a couple limited tags on what game they're playing.
Yeah.
And from an advertising standpoint, that's not a lot to work with. Like it's
Mhm.
it's more than some for sure, but like in the online digital space, it's actually really tiny.
Mhm.
So this whole idea of like comparing it to like traditional media, because I've seen this argument in a lot, is like, well, that's how, and I even said earlier, like, that's how traditional media works. There's two key differences between Twitch and traditional media that I think make it a bad comparison. The first is that in all traditional media, the ads don't prevent you from seeing content. They
Yeah.
interrupt the content, but like
Yes.
even on like American sports, like the Super Bowl, the ads are
Yeah.
run on timeouts in
Yeah.
breaks in the action, not while the
Yep.
game is playing.
Right.
Twitch, your ads could run, if you had more control over that, you could
Yeah.
run them every time you get up. But that's not what
Mhm.
Twitch is pushing for. Twitch is pushing for an automated runtime right now.
Yeah.
So, and like you said, I think it's only a matter of time before they eventually make that mandatory.
Yeah.
Um,
For everyone, not
yeah,
just affiliates, not like it or partners. It's going to be for non-affiliates, it's going to be people. It's just
and
every person is going to have an ad.
yeah,
Every person.
and the second reason where it differs in traditional media is that usually in traditional media, you can only watch whatever you're watching in that channel. The distribution rights are owned by whatever you're watching, whether it's that radio channel, like if you like listening to your favorite talk show in the morning or in the evening, or on TV. The NFL is only on, they have certain games on certain channels and you will not see them
Yeah.
anywhere else.
Right.
Twitch, if you want to watch someone play a game,
Yeah.
unless it's like a really niche title, there are going to be multiple options where you can go watch. So if someone starts running an ad, they have the option to just go watch the other person and not come back. So then Twitch loses the viewer for their ad, and then the creator loses the viewer.
Yeah.
So, and well, that might not be like necessarily a bigger problem for like, the top streamers, right? Streamers like Chilled Chaos, Ray Narvaez, Bruce Green, Fuya, to name just a couple of them.
Yeah.
For smaller streamers, that's a death sentence.
Yes.
And it's really, really hard. So that's why I think it's a bad comparison. And the reason why I really hate that argument is because traditional media is on the downslide right now. Yeah. We are losing viewers for both radio and television. So, do you really want to mimic a business practice that is on the down low? Like it is heading down. It is on a downward trajectory. That's the other issue I have with it.
For me, everything looks like it's just going to be moving over to streaming anyway. No matter where you go, it's going to be the HBO Maxes of the world, Disney Plus. Now they're probably going to have like an NFL centric thing, of course.
Oh yeah, they already have. I don't know if you heard, but the NFL they had an agreement with Verizon where they could stream their games on Yahoo Mobile. Gotcha. They reneged on that deal. They broke that deal and launched their own app that you have to pay for.
Gotcha.
So they've already done that. Yeah.
So when it comes to that, like everything is being streamed. Like either from your house or whatever. And even when ads show up there, it doesn't stop the content. It just pauses it and then moves on. And Twitch does not have that luxury. It will never have that luxury because you're live streaming live content. You are playing the game in real time. Yeah. It's not
and there's no coordination between the creator who's on camera and the automated ad system. It just happens. Like in the NFL, if you could trigger that and still get the same benefits, that might be an acceptable, compromise, right? Because then it's like, then they don't have to sit at an empty chair. You can run ads while everyone's taking a break from the action. But Twitch is currently pushing, like for affiliates, you only get the 55% split on your ad revenue if you run them automatically, not if you trigger them individually.
Which doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
You should be able to run them like when you're off camera, like the Pumas did for a while when I first was watching them. And, I watch them a lot, so I know like when they're going to take a break, and when they have a break, they would have an ad. I would go off and do something else. But that's because they triggered it automatically, not have it like
and that's the difference, right? So again, like there is some middle ground here for sure. But
of course.
At the end of the day, again, there are two facts that are just indisputable. Twitch is, if they're pushing these ad incentives, which they are, they have to make it extremely transparent and consistent. They have not done that. There's a handful of partners who got really, really good deals. There's a lot of them that didn't.
Yeah.
And, it's like, for those that got good deals, cool. I've said this before, I'm happy. Enjoy that money while it lasts. But if Zach Busey's right, in order to maintain those same numbers, you have to constantly increase your viewership on those ads. And by definition, if you're doing that, you even have to do one of two things. You have to lower your sub count, which no streamer wants to do, because that's one of their income sources. Or you have to keep growing your audience of non-subs, which also feels bad.
Yeah, because if they're not sub to you and they're just, following you, at least from the perspective of affiliates and partners, that feels like, well, and if they get gifted a sub, then they won't have ads, right?
Yeah,
that's
so then you get the sub money, but you lose the ad money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it just is a very, how should I put this?
It's a situation rife with contradictions.
Yeah, and it is also very, I guess, not well thought out, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
I,
Not,
I agree. I agree. It
yeah,
smells, it reeks of desperation to me.
yeah,
And I've said this before on stream, and I'll say it here. This is what I expect is going to happen with Twitch.
yeah,
I predict Twitch will reach a point of profitability. I think they will hit that.
yeah.
You know, if they are determined to do that, and we've seen they're determined to do that, they will reach that at some point.
Mhm.
I do not expect that to last. What I
No.
expect to happen is that when they hit it, the current CEO is going to ride off to get a different job somewhere else, and then the whole house of cards they're building this off is going to collapse. And you know, I don't think it'll. I don't think Twitch will die. I really don't. But I
No,
do
I
think that
don't.
they're going to suffer a really big setback because if they were the only name in town, I think they could get away with all this, no problem.
Yeah.
But the problem is that YouTube's on the rise, TikTok is on the rise, and Twitch is already actively advocating for their own users to use other platforms. I
So what's
just
going to stop them from moving over anyway, you know? That's just
exactly.
not, and I'm like, it's very also not thought out in that regard because you're like basically telling them like, hey, you should go on a different platform, promote yourself. Well, what makes me want to stay then? If I'm getting a better deal here, if
Yeah,
I'm getting more viewership here, why should I stay?
yeah,
And that doesn't make it. And to me, I'm like, well, how do you see your platform getting any sort of benefit from that?
yeah,
Because you don't. You automatically are basically telling them go to the competitor, see if you like it over there, and it'll boost your stream here. No, what you're going to find out is that it's not going to be as nice on one platform versus the other.
yeah.
It's yeah, I don't see the reasoning. It's so
It really does scream to me that, and I mean this with all due respect, but to the executive team, it just feels like they don't understand that their entire platform is community based.
yeah,
If their top creators are leaving, they currently don't have a system set up to replace them.
yeah,
You know, it takes a lot of work and a lot of luck for a streamer to break through that barrier, you know, to
yeah.
grow.
Hmm.
And it takes a long time. You know, you listen to like a lot of these top streamers that they're on now, you know, like Chilled Chaos, Z Royal Viking, Ray Narvaez, like how long have they been streaming? They're approaching decades at this point. And so
Pokimane is still on top as this female streamer on Twitch,
yeah,
but even she is kind of like I even had her speak out about the Streamlabs situation too. Like
yeah,
that actually happened. And I'm just sitting here like, what is making Pokey stay? The partnership,
yeah.
right?
The
And
partnership
that,
benefits. But now that she's losing 20% of her income, and
yeah,
Pokey is a very intelligent woman.
yeah,
And
she is.
with other options out there, like, you know, potential like sponsorship deals or, you know, like being able to set up like direct donation stuff, you know, whether it's through like Streamlabs or Stream Elements is just two examples. Like, you got to realize that if you're well, if you are lucky enough or work hard enough or smart enough to reach partner,
Yeah,
they will probably find ways to make up that difference of income to where Twitch isn't getting a cut at all. And that's why I predict that Twitch will eventually, you know, start to lose more and more money because they're basically telling their sources of income, we do not value you. And
exactly.
while Twitch is owned by Amazon and Amazon could literally shut Twitch down at any time, we've seen what like happened with Mixer. Just
Yeah,
because you have a big financial backer, you know, doesn't mean that you will be immune to market online forces. And
yeah.
again, I say this as someone who wants Twitch to succeed,
I
but
say this as somebody who has been on the platform for a while.
yeah,
I've started following H- Game Attack, now Hang Time, 4 years ago.
yeah,
4 years ago when they were playing Final Fantasy, I believe, and they only had, I believe, 30 people watching,
yeah,
maybe 50. As somebody who has grown with the platform, as somebody who has seen people grow and become bigger,
yeah,
them who have worked hard to get that money to, you know, have that be taken away from them by a platform that does not care about them,
It sucks.
it sucks.
Yeah.
And it makes me feel like, I have to be the one to help and I feel so bad because I want to have that community of people to continue going and have that not be squandered by the CEOs of Twitch. And
Yeah.
that's why I came back to Twitch originally, was to help other creators and lift them up. But I also realize it's not going to be all down to me. It's going to be up to a bunch of other people. And I'm learning now that there's a lot more that I have to do for me. And I also have to realize that no matter where I go, people are going to follow me. And I know for you as a Twitch creator, as a creator on this platform, don't worry about what happens to your numbers because they will come, good people will come with you. And I
Yeah.
know they will.
Yeah.
Straight up.
It's a tough situation, right?
Yeah.
Because for me, I think my biggest issue with this whole thing, in I don't want to direct this at anybody in particular, but I've seen a lot of people who are just willing to jump and take the bullet for Twitch.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I get if you feel one way. Like there's
Yeah.
one particular partner that I really don't think handled the ad situation well.
Right.
And I'm not gonna out this person, and I'm not gonna insult them, but like I strongly disagreed with their position,
Exactly.
and I understand where they're coming from. They're probably one of the
Hmm.
ones that got a really good deal, but as I just kind of pointed out, like a lot of people didn't.
A
For
lot of
me
people
as an
didn't.
affiliate, I'll be completely transparent. In 2 months of running ads per Twitch's recommendations just to try it, I made
Yeah.
less than $3.
Just $3.
And
Three measly dollars.
I'm like, I make more than that with 2 subs. So
Yes.
it was like,
Yeah.
what was the point of me running those ads? Because I lost viewership. I checked. My viewership numbers
Yeah.
dropped during those time periods. Um, so it's like, what was the point of that? Like I made
Yeah.
almost no money and upset people. And
Yeah.
again, I agree ads are not the end of the world, but
No, they aren't, but
I don't feel like they're being implemented the right way. I think that's the nicest thing I can say about it. And I think that's a lot about what Twitch is doing right now. Is it's like, look, I can, if I put on my business hat, I understand why they're doing this. I
hmm
understand what their goal is. The problem is that you have to work with your creators because your creators are your money source. You're not going to get those big ad money if nobody's on your platform, if no one's creating. So, right now it's fine and dandy because you were the only player in the game for so long. You know, at the very first episode of this podcast, we talked a lot about what the pros and cons were of each one. And in the 16 episodes since then, 16 weeks since we debuted that, things have not been getting better. And they seem to be doubling down on this course that I personally, and I think a lot of others think, is going to be very self destructive for Twitch. It won't happen immediately, it won't be like a dramatic collapse, but it's going to slowly happen over time.
hmm
And as their top creators find other ways to make money, especially when your competitors are offering better deals.
yeah.
So, on the off chance that anyone from Twitch happens to see this, I really want to stress, if you're going to make a change, at the very least get better at communicating. And if you're
Yeah.
going to make a change, don't just go with the mob. We know that's never good, but really look and think about what you're doing and why creators are asking you to do what they're doing.
Yeah.
That's all I can ask for. And if that's too much, if that makes me an asshole, sorry, but I don't think that either Kitty or I have been unfair in our criticisms.
I mean, I might have been a little tensy bit, a little.
I don't think so. I think the only thing is you were just coming from a place where you didn't understand something. That's all.
Yeah, but you also know I'm a very emotional person. I
Yeah.
care a lot about people. I have quite the heart for a lot of the people that have found me on this platform, and I want them to succeed. But the way things are going, I I feel for those people who are going to lose the money, like especially people like Hang Time who I followed for years.
Yeah.
Um and I know that I've also followed another creator that I followed for years. I don't really want him to suffer either.
Yeah.
Um, there there are people like BB Jess, there are people like Pokemon that are still up on the top, but they're wondering how are they gonna wonder where their money comes from next, what's gonna happen to them
Yeah.
too. And there are a lot of good people on this platform that deserve a lot more than what is being shelled out by Twitch, by all the staff, everything, and the TwitchCon. My God,
Yeah.
uh, they deserve better.
They do.
They do.
And I think that's ultimately where we're trying to come from here is there was a lot of criticism, and I think this was a
Yeah.
really good discussion, but it was, I think at the end it is, we want better, and we want
Yeah.
Twitch to be better. And I mentioned let's kind of try to close out on a positive note, and I want to
Of
add a
course.
disclaimer
Yeah.
that a lot of this was late, but Twitch has made some good decisions. They've made some good changes. A lot of the tools they offered to get rid of hate raids, I think, were really, really well thought out and really well done. Um, you know, the control over who can raid, the extra verification steps you need to get rid of
Yeah.
bots. These are all things that, well, granted, I wish had come out a year ago, or at least had been
Yeah.
announced that they were, had they'd done a better job of communicating. I want
Right.
to at least acknowledge that they are taking some very positive steps in some ways. There's an upcoming change that I think will be interesting where they're looking at phasing out bits. I don't know how well that's going to work, but
Oh, the cheer part, the
yeah, it's
cheers
like the
part. Okay,
cheering or
so
whatever. And that I think potentially could be good depending on how they choose to implement it. That's not finalized, but so it's not to say that like Twitch has never made a good decision. That's not true.
right.
It's just I feel that a lot of their big decisions that matter to streamers lately have not been well thought out, not been well conceived, and certainly not in favor of the creators they claim to support.
Yeah.
But again, I think we're in agreement that neither one of us want Twitch to fail.
No, I kind of want it to just I want it to still be out there in the universe because it is a really awesome like if you ever go into like a Twitch channel that has a good culture and has good
Mm-hmm.
like intentions and is very loving and very caring about people, you go in there and you just are like immediately brightened. Like you
Yes.
feel good, you feel happy, you have people that understand where you come from or this type of silly things that you like on your pizza.
Yeah.
Silly things like that that just kind of brighten your day and just make you feel off and just just amazing. Like you just feel like I can just hang out here and not have to deal with some of the stuff that I've been going on. I'll come back to that later. Let me relax for a minute, you
Yeah.
know? And
And
it's
and that was especially prevalent too during COVID. Twitch was
yeah,
in a time where we couldn't interact normally.
yeah,
Twitch was a very, very amazing platform to meet new people. I made lots of friends during COVID, you included.
yeah, yeah,
Vin and Puma, Cloudless One, all
yeah.
people I've had on the podcast, and countless others who I can't name. So again, we want to stress Twitch is not like this end all be all evil.
Yeah.
We just feel that they could do better. And
Hmm.
if they really are super concerned about, making a profit, I think there's other steps that they could explore
Yeah.
that I think would be better for them in the long run. And I think my critique can be summarized in this. I feel that Twitch is currently going for short-term profit at the expense of long-term sustainability. I think that's the simplest way to summarize.
Yeah.
But Kitty, thank you so much for being here. I think we've pretty much covered everything we wanted to talk about. I know it wasn't necessarily the happiest episode, but
Yeah, well, if we talked about other things, it would have been pretty dark too. So I'm
yeah.
just gonna
So
gonna be honest.
we figure we should address some real topics. Kitty and I have talked
Yeah.
about wanting to address Twitch.
Yeah, for a long time. Like
So
we've been like I feel like that we both have the same kind of ideas. I feel like I have a more emotional side to it cuz I care that deeply about people.
yeah,
But I can also see it from your logical perspective and when what you see in the business. That really helped me too because it made me wonder like, okay, here's my emotional perspective on
Yeah.
people. Let's talk about the logical part of running a business and how that works. We put those two together and it comes with a lot of like similar ideas and a lot of similar critiques and it actually does help with the
Yeah.
situation, you know? Makes you
Yeah.
wonder like how do you put into words to somebody who has never thought about Twitch or sees all the stuff that is going down on Twitter and you're like, "What's happening?" This is what's happening and we can do it in a careful way, in a good way, you know?
Yeah, and I also just want to mention too that I really tried to form this discussion from the perspective of Twitch without relying too heavily on like, oh, they're owned by Amazon and Amazon can just bail them out. But there's a lot of stuff we didn't talk about with that because no matter how
Yeah.
much any Twitch defender wants to like point at Twitch as an individual entity,
Yeah.
the fact is it's owned by Amazon. And that
Yeah.
gives them a lot more freedom and a lot more leeway than people understand. And
Yeah.
I've talked about it on stream, and I don't really want to dive too much into it here because we are trying to wrap up.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to just say is that there is reasons for a part of a company to not be profitable. The
Yeah.
big example I always use is IT. There's not a
Yeah.
single IT department in a single business that brings in profit,
Mhm.
but everyone still has an IT department. Why is
Yeah.
that? It's because IT is core to your business.
Yes.
And I just want to leave you guys with that thought that Twitch is a part of Amazon. It does not have to be profitable by itself. I understand why
Right.
they want to do it, but Twitch can serve a greater purpose in the bigger Amazon picture if they so chose to do so.
Yeah.
But again, that's probably a story for another time. So,
Yeah.
Kitty, once again, I just want to say thank you for making the time to be
Of
here.
course. Yeah.
I know you have been going through a lot lately,
Uh-huh.
but I wanted to end on this note that this episode will be airing on Halloween. So
Oh my god!
this is our
That's so
Halloween
cool.
episode. I know it's not very Halloweeny, but I figure I got the scares down because we're talking about big spooky Twitch. Ooh. So yeah, I know I'm not very good at planning Halloween themes. I actually had one in mind, but the
Yeah.
guest I had in mind unfortunately was too busy.
That's all
So
right. I kind of, you know, regardless of what was going on, I'm glad I was able to finally make some time for you because, you know, we both go back and forth on Twitch topics all the time on
oh
stream.
yeah,
I watch you a lot, okay? I'll be real. I watch you a lot because I really like how you construct like conversations like you do, and it really does bring more perspective to me. And you know, finally being able to kind of talk to you about how I feel makes me feel really good because I'm not alone here in my thinking processes.
no,
I feel so
you're not
I
even
feel
close
so
to
alone
alone.
sometimes. Yeah. I
And
feel
I think a
yeah.
lot of partners feel this way too. Again, I can't speak
Yeah.
for them, but just based on sentiments I've heard expressed on certain channels that I watch, I know this is not an alone feeling.
Yeah.
And that's why I really appreciate you saying that because I really do try
Yeah.
not to be like this negative person, even when it comes to
Yeah.
really negative news. Like
Right.
I've been very upset with the way Twitch has handled these things. I'm very fierce, especially if you catch me live. You tend to catch me in a bit more of an emotional state where I've had,
Yeah.
in this case, I've had time to think it over and to really process and approach
Yeah.
it. But I really do appreciate your raw emotion, Kitty. I think that's part of what makes you so incredible is you do wear your heart on your sleeve, and it's a very big heart. And for any of those who don't know, Kitty is a wonderful, wonderful streamer. She is an incredible person. She's built up an amazing community. She is currently trying to decide what her future is on Twitch, if she even has one. So, what I will say though is please go support her on Twitch. That is twitch.tv /KittyAeryn. You can also find her on Twitter at KittyAeryn. And, just be kind because if you're not, you'll get blocked. Trust me. Um, but it's Kitty again. You're one of I consider one of my closest streaming friends. I
Mhm.
love talking to you,
Yeah.
and I hope again just thank you so much for coming on.
Of course. I like being on certain people's streams and being able to talk through stuff and just have a good time, you know?
Yeah,
Even if it
absolutely.
is about dark subjects like Twitch, like, yeah.
Dark Twitch.
Dark Twitch.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Alrighty. Well, on that note, Kitty, I'm gonna wrap up. But everyone, thank you very much for watching. This has been the Lost One podcast. See you next time. Bye bye.